Welcome to episode 30 of the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast, joined by Director of Athletic Communications Larry Dielman and Student Assistant Connor Kikowski. This is Sports Information Director Andy Alvarez, bringing you results and news from this past week's action in Immaculata Athletics and previewing the week ahead. We're now up to episode 30, another milestone for us guys. That's good to see. Flag football went 3-0 this week. Baseball offense was on display in a 3-1 week. Softball picked up a pair of crucial conference wins on Saturday. Both tennis teams clinched the fourth seed in the playoffs. Women's lacrosse won both games and they clinched a spot in the playoffs. And men's lacrosse fell to a very strong Montclair State team. And track and field down some more records at the Moravian and Misericordia events this weekend. So let's get started with looking back at last week's results.
Let's get things started with baseball. Baseball went 3-1 again this week. They went 3-1 last week and 3-1 this week. So they had a shootout with TCNJ. Unfortunately, that was a defeat, but a series sweep 3-0 over St. Elizabeth. Against TCNJ, this was last Tuesday. The final score was 25-17. No, that is not a typo. It was 25-17. It was a football score. This was a 4-hour game, and I was there for those 4 hours, and what a shootout it was. Four players for the Mighty Macs logged 2 runs each. Nick Turnage had 4 hits and 2 ribbies. Danny Nacito and JT Luther, 3 RBIs each off the bench. Immaculata used 9 pitchers. It was a bullpen game for those of you that don't know what that means. Basically, it's one of these midweek non-conference games. You don't want to use your aces necessarily, like some of your top pitchers. You try to save your better pitchers for the weekend games. TCNJ used 10 pitchers, so 19 pitchers in total. So pitching change almost every inning. Keeping up with a lot of these substitutions was definitely an adventure. Trevor Robbins started 2.1 innings and threw 47 pitches for the day. And it was definitely a great game. I thought we were going to hit darkness. It was pushing 7:30. And what was crazy was that softball played that day as well, as we'll talk about in a few moments. Softball finished their doubleheader before we were even close to finishing a single baseball game. So it just tells you what a game that was. TCNJ had a couple strong 7-run innings that they were able to pull away, but TCNJ usually a very strong program. And the bullpen game, our pitchers did very well, but the Lions definitely had momentum. Against St. Elizabeth, what a series this was. Immaculata absolutely dominated 22-1 on Friday in 7 innings, 13 zip in 7 innings in game 1 on Saturday, and 10-4 in game 2. So across the series, 45-5 was the score for the whole weekend. Just absolutely no answers from the Eagles. Game 1 on Friday was essentially over in the first inning. 7 Mighty Max runs. Matt Passerini, Danny Nacito, JT Luther each had 3 runs. 3 hits for Luke Hardknock. 3 ribbies for Ryan Nace, Nick Turnage, and Justin Hoffman. Alex LePage only went 2 innings, and John Fitzpatrick pitched the rest of the way. They were up by, I think, 10 runs. There was a rain delay, and I guess they figured there was no point in putting Alex back in, and they saved him for Saturday, actually. Game 2 on Saturday, LePage went again. 5 players had 2 runs. Nacito, Turnage, and Nace 2 hits. 3 RBIs for Nacito, Turnage, and Josh Goulburn. Alex LePage retired a career-high 14 batters on strikeouts, and he tied Jason Hughes' program record. And Alex also threw 115 pitches and allowed 6 hits and just 1 walk. Game 3, 4 players, 2 runs each. 4 had 2 hits apiece. Matt Passerini, 2 RBIs, and Tommy DeSarno, 7 innings and 5 Ks on the mound. Alex LePage was the AEC Pitcher of the Week. Nick Turnage on the AEC Weekly Honor Roll. Up next, guys, baseball, probably one of their toughest games of the year, if not the toughest. They will go to Rowan to face my alma mater, the Profs. tomorrow, Tuesday, April 21st at 3:30. Rowan is currently number 6 in the D3Baseball.com top 25 poll. A very strong team. But guys, baseball absolutely had a week against St. Elizabeth. TCNJ was a shootout for the ages. And, you guys came over from softball, and I'm sitting there trying to get all these subs and stuff in. But, what a great week for them.
Exciting week for baseball to see them, take a jump up in the standings again and, really, kind of assert themselves and, put themselves in a good position to compete for playoff spots. And, that was a lot of runs on Tuesday.
Yeah, this sweep definitely put them up in the standings of not just a home playoff match, but maybe hosting the whole thing. So that's good to see. Switching over to flag football, who had a really good week. They went 3-0 with another Merriwich forfeit being one of them, and they clinched the third seed in the AEC playoffs. On Saturday, they were at a tri-match hosted by Chestnut Hill, and they also played Newman against Chestnut Hill. It was 32-6 was the final. Devin Cosgrove went 119 yards for 2 touchdowns and added a rushing score. Jacqueline Malinini added 7 tackles, and Natalie Dodd had 3 tackles and an interception. Against Newman, 23-0 was the final. Cosgrove went for 77 yards with a touchdown. Kalia Gaines had 3 sacks for 22 yards. Eliana Sikowski had 3 interceptions, and Jacqueline Malinini had 2 interceptions. And for their efforts this week, Jacqueline Malinini and Eliana Satowski were both named to the AAC Weekly Honor Roll. And some history in the making. The Immaculata flag football team will host their first ever playoff game Tuesday night at 8 p.m. when they take on the 6th seed Penn State Schuylkill at Draper Wall Stadium. So that is a big moment for the flag football team. It will be a whiteout game, so tell everyone you know to come on out and support the flag football team. And then if they get past them, the whole series will switch to Eastern, who has the 1 seed this coming weekend, but definitely has a lot of momentum going into this game tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's been a great season for flag football. 14-3 to finish the regular season, 13-3 in conference play, and just another great result over at Chestnut Hill on Saturday. Outscored them 55-6 for the day across Chestnut Hill and Newman. Devin Cosgrove, a quarterback, despite being a freshman, has really proven herself to be a great option for the future. And we have a lot of great playmakers. Jacqueline and Eliana, I think the pair, the two of them made the honor roll last week, and then both of them making the honor roll this week or 2 weeks ago. It's good to see consistency for the conference results, and hopefully we can make some noise tomorrow and maybe even Saturday.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see the team having success. I mean, they're one of them. Eastern and Marymount are teams that have competed in the playoffs both seasons so far, the two actual seasons, and obviously our team competed in the inaugural championships that were hosted here. So it's good for our team to get that recognition, seed, and hosting that first round game. And if you get through that, then you get to go over to Eastern on Saturday and play in the semifinals against either Eastern or Marymount. They're good teams, but they're opportunities. So there's opportunities to get through, and it's been a great season. Devin Cosgrove, Satowski, Joppa, all of them have had, Molinini, Bronco. A lot of players have had recognition this season on that team, and then Clea Gaines. You had a couple safeties in the Chestnut Hill game. One was a snap out of the end zone, and the other one was a sack in the end zone by Gaines, I believe. So that was a good result for the Mighty Macs, and it's good to see them get that home playoff game, and hopefully everybody comes out and brings the excitement. Switching gears to women's lacrosse. The women's lacrosse team went 2-0 this week, both of which were at home. They extended their team winning streak to 3 games. It's the first time they've won 3 games in a row since the 2024 season in April. They did that. Was the last time they accomplished that. On Wednesday, they took on Cedar Crest. They won their final non-conference game of the season. They won 14-7, defeating the Falcons. Elizabeth Mahmood had 5 goals. Kira Benoit, 3 goals, 3 assists, and 5 caused turnovers. Alexa Marzak had 5 ground balls. She also scored 3 or 4 goals, I think, on that one, 4 goals that game herself. Julia Pohl had an assist and 6 draw controls. Abigail Garnieri had 5 saves and 46 minutes of action. On Saturday, they hosted Centenary. They won 13-3. They up 7-0 in the first quarter. Was a real difference maker. Kira Benoit, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 draw controls. She had the obviously 3-3 the other day, so that was a real big week for her. Julia Pole had 3 assists, 7 ground balls, 5 caused turnovers, and 5 draw controls. Elizabeth Mahmood had a couple goals. Marzak scored. It was a big day for the Mighty Macs. You got some other players like Alea Piperato had 3 goals in that game as well. Morgan Barnes scored a goal. You got all your goalies got action. Gabrielle Garnieri had 2 saves in 36 minutes of action. With that win, the Mighty Macs locked up a spot in the Atlantic East Conference playoffs, so they're going back to the playoffs for the first time since 2024. Kira Benoit was named the AEC Player of the Week, and Elizabeth Mahmood was named to the weekly honor roll. The women's lacrosse team is back up for their final home game of the regular season. They'll take on Newman on Wednesday at 4:30 here at Draper Hall Stadium. Hope everyone will come out and support the Mighty Macs. And they will be playing their playoff game at Newman, who locked up the top seed in the AEC tournament on in their game on Saturday. So Saturday they'll be traveling to Newman. I don't know the time of the game's been announced yet. Most likely somewhere probably around like 1 o'clock or something like that. Women's lacrosse, good things happening there, guys.
Yeah, it's definitely been ever since Kira Benoit and Julia Pole have joined the team from basketball. It's been a lot of fun to watch the women's lacrosse team. They've had a little bit of a rough stretch during the beginning, but they have definitely found a groove and they've stuck with it. And it's good to see them having success and good to see them going back to the playoffs for the first time in 2 years.
Julia Pole and Kira Benoit. I mean, we've talked about them all season, how big of a difference maker they've been since that tough start. But they've really put in some really good numbers. Elizabeth Mahmood, I believe, Andy, she surpassed 50 or is she hovering at 50?
She actually has 50 goals,
Okay, so
this
she is
season.
at 50. So she's made a great impact in her first season in Mighty Max Blue. Abby Guarneri's been doing great, and it's good to see the backup goalies get some time too, where Abby doesn't have to go the whole 60 minutes or she doesn't have to save 15 to 20 shots per game, that she can kind of just do what's needed and then allow the backup goalies to get some time, and you kind of have that win secured, and hopefully we can get a win maybe on Wednesday and Saturday and just see what they can do as the playoffs draw near.
And I think that's an important thing also I'd like to note is you got going into the final week here, with the playoffs and everything like that. Special note to Abby Garnieri, Carly Oberg, and Roddy Mullen that have been with this team for 4 years now and have really battled through a lot of different things and, have been constant with those teams and very happy for them with the success this team is having as they finish up their college careers here at the with the Mighty Macs this season. Moving on to men's lacrosse. Men's lacrosse only played 1 game this week due to their centenary game being previously canceled by Centenary shutting down their team for the season. They went up to North Jersey and played a strong Montclair State team. They did up falling 17-6. Jude Azarano had 3 goals, 1 assist, 5 ground balls. Brady Lynch had 2 caused turnovers. Ryan Fuchs won 6 faceoffs. Matthew Ludlow did make 14 saves at 54 minutes of action. Obviously, Montclair State got off to a fast start. Immaculata kind of tightened things up a little bit after that point, but it was a tough game, difficult game against a strong team. But I think the team can take things from that game that will help them when they as they move into their final regular season game at Newman on Wednesday. Right now, Immaculata is currently sitting in second in the conference. There are still possibilities to where they could finish anywhere from first to third, but they will be in the playoffs. Most likely, they should be hosting a semifinal on Saturday here. Time to be determined, but they're in the playoffs. They just now need to determine where they're going to finish. Looking forward to them, really making the run now as you get set through whether it goes through Immaculata, if they have to go on the road, things like that. I think this team is in a good position to compete for shot at another championship and a possible return to the NCAA tournament. And Jude Azarano was named to the AEC Weekly Honor Roll for his performance in the game at Montclair State. Your guys' thoughts on men's lacrosse?
I mean, obviously Montclair State, that very strong team. So going in there and getting 6 goals and seeing Judas Toronto have success is good, especially with one more regular season game to go before the playoffs. And it's a whole new season when you enter the playoffs with only 4 teams in. Anything can happen. And we know how close that Marymount game was. So even if they're the 1 seed, anything can happen.
Yeah, this team's doing really good this year. Hopefully, we can make a run back to the AEC championship and beyond. Obviously, you're not going to let one loss define you this week. The centenary thing, that's been known for a while. So, just having this game. Although the good thing about the schedule last week for them, despite the loss, they're able to kind of clean stuff up and they're able to get some extra rest this past weekend, regroup and look at the film and hopefully go into Newman with that mindset, win and get a home playoff game. So hopefully things work out in their favor, and we'll see where Marymount and Gwynedd fall as well. Let's switch over to tennis. Both teams went 0-2 this week, but they each clinched the number 4 seed in the playoffs. Starting with the men's side, it was a 7-0 sweep by Albright. Patrick Arnold and Easton Ragnow fell 6-2 in doubles. Alex Corsones, he fell in a tight singles match, 5-7, 6-3, 10-7. And then against Marywood, it was 5-2 for the Pacers. Alex Corsones and Nick Brown, 7-5 win in doubles. Nick Brown, 6-0, 6-3 in singles. Pat Arnold, 6-0, 4-6, 6-4. And Alex Corsones, again, another tight loss, 4-6, 7-6, 7-3 for the tiebreaker. And then 1-0, 10-6 was the tiebreaker in the third set. For the men, they clinched the 4 seed. They will play Marymount on Friday, April 24th against the number 1 seed. This will be at Newman because Newman is hosting the whole tournament across Friday and Saturday. So they'll take on Marymount in a neutral site game. Meanwhile, for the women, again, 7-0 for Albright on Tuesday. Laura Farrow and Elizabeth Madsen, 6-2 defeat in doubles. Sophia Carey with a tough battle in singles, 6-2, 7-5, 5-2 against Marywood. So both teams put up the same scores against both teams, which is kind of interesting. Immaculata for the women's side, they won the doubles point against Marywood. So for those of you that might not be as familiar in tennis, for the doubles point, you play 3 matches and you have to win 2 to get 1 point. So you have 6 singles matches that all equal 6 points. Obviously, 1 times 6 is 6. And then for the 7th point, you play 2 of 3 to get that win. IU won the doubles point. Sophia Carey and Haley Elwell, 6-3. Ashley Badajan and Athena Criticson, 6-4. And then in the singles section, Ashley Badajan, 6-4, 6-4. And Sophia Carey went the distance in a tough defeat, 4-6, 7-6, 7-5 in the second set, and then 6-3 to round out the third set. Up next, same thing as the men. They will be at Newman on Friday for the playoffs. And instead of Marymount, they will be taking on number 1 seeded Pratt for the semifinals. So some tough competition, guys, coming up. I know both teams will look to avenge those losses from earlier this year, respectively to Marymount and Pratt. Anything can happen in the playoffs, but it's on a neutral site, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, it's good for them to get that opportunity to go to the playoffs this year. Is at Newman. It's not, you don't have to make the long trip. It's, it's close. They're decent. They're good courts. It's a good setup there. Obviously, you're playing good teams, but I think it's good that both teams got back into the playoffs this year and, something to build from in the future.
All right, and we're gonna go switch gears now to softball, who saw a split this week, so 2-2 for the week, but they picked up a big sweep over Gwynedd Mercy to stay alive in the AEC playoffs. They played Delaware Valley on Tuesday here at the IU softball stadium. 8-4 was the final in game 1, and 11-2 was the final in 5 innings. Then they were swept by the Aggies. 4 players had 1 run each. Alexandra had 3 hits and 2 ribbies. Sarah Pearson struck out 2 batters in 4.2 innings of work. And in game 2, Kate Daly and Madison Formica tallied runs, 2 hits for Formica and Carly Carter. Carter was responsible for the lone RBI. A 7-run 5th inning gave Delbert the win. And Nadia Boya struck out 4 batters in 4 innings of work. And then to Gwynedd Mercy, where they traveled to face the Griffins. 11-10 in 8 innings was the final for game 1, and 12-3 was the final in 6 innings for the second game. And they came back from behind. I think they were down 4-0 at one point in the first game, but they won it 11-10 in 8. Madison Formica and Alexis Andrade each had 3 runs and 2 hits apiece. Natalie Tassoni had 3 hits. Jamie Green had 3 ribbies. Sarah Pearson had 5 strikeouts in 3.1 innings. Carly Carter had an RBI single, won the game in the 8th, and teams traded 4 runs each in the 7th inning. In game 2, Madison Formica had 3 runs, 4 hits, and 2 ribbies, Alexis Andrade had 4 ribbies, and Jessica Vito pitched a complete game with 2 strikeouts. And for her efforts this week, Alexis Andrade was named to the AC Weekly Honor Roll. They are at Penn State Brandywine on Monday this week for a doubleheader, and then they will have Wilkes on Tuesday, April 21st at Wilkes for a doubleheader, I believe, at 4 and 6. And then they will be back here on Saturday for their final regular season finale against Marymount for senior day here at the IU softball field. But getting that big sweep over Gwen and Mercy is huge for this team and it keeps them alive in this playoff race. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, softball definitely needed that. They were on a skid, a couple double headers, but bouncing back over Gwen and Mercy is huge. And Andy and Coach Kopsky from the baseball team and I were kind of looking at some of the scenarios this morning. And, well, if this happens and that happens, they're definitely going to need to beat Marymount on Saturday. That's going to be the major thing for them to make a playoff push. They might need a little help along the way. We'll see how some of these other doubleheaders go across the conference this week, but definitely puts them in a great spot as we head into next weekend. They have a lot of games this week. Like Connor said, with Penn State Brandywine, that's a makeup game from March. Wilkes, that's a makeup game from March. And they also go up to Rutgers Newark on Thursday, get some NJAC action going up to Newark. So that'll be fun. And so 4 doubleheaders this week. Definitely lots of softball. Hopefully get some results go our way.
Yeah, that was big on Saturdays. We were watching as that game, kind of bounced around that first game, and then they were able to obviously, have a big second game as well, get a good pitching performance from Jessica Vito. That was good to see them get that done, and hopefully they can, find a way to compete in that series with that doubleheader with Marymount on Saturday and try to get themselves an opportunity to make the playoffs. It was kind of weird the other day when the first game of that doubleheader. Immaculata was up, and then Del Val suddenly decided to insert all seven other starters that they had chosen not to put into the starting lineup, and that game changed dramatically on that point. So that was
Yeah,
tough.
that was fun to do. Trust
Yeah,
me, finding out where they had to go in all the spots and if they re-enter or not, that was a lot of fun to do.
Try putting in 19 pitchers for a baseball game and subbing everybody out like in the middle of the game. Yeah, that was fun.
Moving on to track and field, the men's and women's track and field teams were in action in 2 different events this weekend, and some people were in 2 different events. They broke some more records. Our very own Connor Kikowski made his 10K debut at Moravian on Friday night. At Misericordia on Saturday, Dylan Cruz finished second in the long jump with a 6.46 meters jump and finished second in the high jump with 1.82 meters. Maurice Franklin finished 12th in the 400 with a time of 57.26. Jason Canarino finished fourth in the 3,000 meters steeplechase with a time of 12 minutes, 16.79 seconds. And Colin Corkery finished third in the shot put, throw of 13.56 meters, which was a IU and a Atlantic East Conference record again. He broke it in his first throw and then broke it again, I believe, in his third throw. So he broke that twice, the program and Atlantic East Conference record. So a good week for Colin Corkery. Women's track and field, Abby Grillo finished first with an IU program record time of 2 minutes 16.28 seconds in the 800 meters. Jackie Leone finished second in the 1500 meters with a time of 5 minutes 6.15 seconds. Maggie Friend broke her own IU program record in the hammer throw with a throw of 25.31 meters. Jillian Humphreys finished third in the high jump with a jump of 1.46 meters. On Friday at Moravian, Aubrey Donahue set a 10K program record with a time of 39 minutes and 5.01 seconds. Brianne Dymick finished with a PR in the 10K of 44 minutes and 49.90 seconds. For their efforts this week, Colin Corkery was named the AEC Outstanding Athlete of the Week. Abby Grillo and Maggie Friend were named to the weekly honor roll. Up next, the track and field teams will be at the King's College Monarch Open this coming Saturday. So that was, another good week for our track and field teams, guys.
Yeah, I did that 25 laps of 10K on Friday night at Moravian, and that was no bueno. My legs were definitely feeling it the next morning, but it was a good experience to say that I did it. It's not something I probably will do again this season. I'm more of a 5K guy and a 1500 runner, so I probably will stick to that. But yeah, the track and field's having a lot of success this year, and we're excited to host the championships at Draper Wall Stadium in 2 weeks.
Every week, man, with these records, it's truly something. I mean, Colin Corkery has been on an absolute heater this season. Every week I'm writing these recaps, conference record, program record, double record break, this, that. It's truly something. Dylan Cruz stood out this week, 2 second place finishes in high jump and long jump. As we said in our staff meeting, I know Coach Stramara from men's basketball is asking about Kevin Tellisford. He's been doing good. He's been setting PRs since joining the team. So yeah,
That's good.
we've had a lot of great performances, and on the women's side too, Abby Grillo in her freshman year is making a big impact. Maggie Friend is pretty much a automatic weekly honor roll right in, and Aubrey Donahue of course does her thing, breaking her own records of her other records. It's really something, and hopefully the Kings see some more records fall, a lot of the same, and as we somehow are only 2 weeks away from track and field championships.
It's been an interesting, season for the track and field teams. And shout out to them. I know that it was bus difficulties on the trip back, so they got back late. But they work hard. They're out there. We see them out there every time we go out there for an event. They're out there putting in their time, putting in their efforts. The throwers are constantly working, so it's good. And the reward for them to be able to have the championships here this year, as opposed to having to go up to Gwynedd.
Thank
You know,
God.
yeah. So
Yes.
they're happy to have it here. Like now would be a good time to bring in our guests. We'll be back with Matthew Frame and Dan Brady from the Immaculata men's lacrosse team, and we'll have that after this quick break on the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. Welcome back to the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. We are joined by our guests, Matthew Frame and Dan Brady. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
How did you guys get your start playing lacrosse, and when did you know it was something that you wanted to play at the collegiate level?
I started playing lacrosse when I was in third grade for Middle Township Rec, and I fell in love with the game instantly. And like throughout like my years playing it, I kept on developing and growing, like learning love for the sport. Then throughout my high school career, junior year, I reached out to my coach, the old coach from last year, and I'll see if I was able to play for college. And I set my highlight tape, and I was able to play. So I was very much excited. I started playing lacrosse around like fourth grade. One of my best friends on the bus was asking like, "Hey, you want to play this sport? We need people on the team." I was like, "Sure, I'll give it a try." I actually started out as a goalie because they didn't have one, so they decided like put the new kid at net just because like yeah, and then play goalie for like a year and then transition to defense. And then around like my after like my junior season, I was like, I want to play this at the next level. I knew I had a couple buddies like Frame who plays college lacrosse. I was like, shoot him the text, see like what's it like if like maybe there's a chance I could come up here and play with him. And things turned out lucky to where like I was able to come up here and play lacrosse with Frame like I did in high school.
So, what would you guys say are some of the similarities and differences between last year's championship team and this year's, where you guys are in the running to make it back to the championship game? Like maybe roster wise, do you have like similar or different playing styles? Like what would you say are some of like the similarities and differences, and what kind of like makes each team unique in their own ways?
Oh yeah, so some similarities I feel like we have are like we're hungry. Last year we were like hungry. We wanted to win the conference. Like this year, it's the same thing. We know like every team has a target on our back. Everyone wants to get back from last year, wants to revenge, wants to beat us. But we like that. We like having the pressure on us because our team's just a bunch of full hungry dogs. Doesn't matter how young we are. We're hungry because like all the freshmen last year, they know like how we said like how much fun it was like winning it, and they want that feeling for themselves. And the seniors, they want to go out on a like high note and win. Our last year's team, we had 12 guys graduated. This year we had 20 new freshmen coming in. So it was a very young team, and they each have the dedication and determination to help us win the chip. And the seniors are ready for whatever it takes to win the chip.
So you guys have already talked about there's been a lot of memorable moments of this season so far. What has been your favorite game this season so far?
I think my favorite game of the season so far would probably be against Gwynedd Mercy because it was senior day and it was a lot of emotions and the stands were packed and that was amazing. And like that game throughout playing it was like just crazy how much energy everyone had and how much the team played well. My favorite game this year is either between St. Vincent, where like my boy Jason Smarin scored the game winner goal, but I think
real favorite game this year was against Drew, where it was a very juice game. And we got our get back from last year where they beat us in overtime at the Lebanon Cup or whatever it was called. But we came back and we beat them, and it was a very, very juiced game.
So, Matt, you've been highly efficient as a scorer. What's your mindset when you get the ball in a scoring position?
So my mindset when I get in like a scorer position is try to put the ball in the back of the net, get it past the goalie, and see White hit White, and help my team accomplish a winning goal, accomplish winning it, and have fun, make the teammates proud and everything.
Dan, every team needs guys who do the little things for their team. What's your role that might not show up in the stat sheet?
I mean, it's just like showing up when like my numbers call. When like I need to do something, I'm there giving like 110%, hustling every play, just doing like all the dirty work that's like even on the sideline, like echoing the calls so that the offense can know like what play they're running, laying down like the shot clock so they know like if they gotta go. But yeah, it's just doing like all the dirty things, just make sure that like it's a team success. Always gotta put the team first. And it's just like wherever if we win, we're all winning and we're all one.
The team has been pretty dominant at home this season. What makes the home environment at Draper Wall Stadium so effective for you guys?
I think it's just like having like we have great fans that come out to support us every home game. Like our families traveled from bottom tip of Maryland, from Jersey, from all over the country where they're from to come watch us play. We got friends who will come watch us play every game, and it's just knowing that like we're like home. Every team has like a secure confidence at home, and like you got because you want to defend it. You don't want to see any team celebrating on your home turf and do anything about it. Like when you saw this is back in like 2020 for like football, when you saw like Juju Smith-Schuster celebrating on like other teams' logos and stuff, you saw like all the NFL fans and players get like very upset about that. We're the same thing. We don't want to see other players like celebrate on our logo on our field because it's our field. We want to defend that every chance we get and gives us extra motivation to like don't lose at home and win.
Yeah, I think the fans come a big partial part of the game. Like the fans have to be loud at Draper Walsh and be hyped for us when we're winning and when we're down, like help us get back up. And like the fans are like they bring us enough support and they help us leads off from the bench and leads off to the field. And we really do appreciate all the fans that always come out and support.
What would you say is something that you guys have improved the most this season? Maybe it's something personal, like a certain skill set in your game, or maybe you think the team has improved on a little bit better. So, what's something you think that has gotten better?
I think the team improved on like working together as like a whole rather than just themselves, like just one person on the team. And like we draw more closer together while we're working together and like building the culture that we build for the standard to have us succeed and have a good season.
On the defensive end, we improved a lot more on just playing like team defense instead of just like playing just like 1v1 and just worrying about my matchup, my man. Where like we started coming in to help him. Where like instead of now just having the two, we have the 3 and 4 ready for the slide. So like just the whole team like has continually bought in together, bought in and improved so much to be able to reach where we want to reach. And the scary thing is that we haven't improved as much as we can right now. We haven't even reached our ceiling yet this year, which is a scary thing.
So one thing we like to do with each of our guests is talk about the team in general, like we've been doing. You guys always come out with a lot of intensity. Every time I'm working with you guys are running out, you're screaming, you're getting pumped up. So who would you say is the most intense practice?
In practice, I think I gotta give it to my boy Sea Dog. Like he's always fired up every time he hits a play. He's always like screaming, getting juiced up, and like gets like the people who aren't in that drill like getting juiced up, and like us on the defensive end, we like have like this little celebration. And like when one of us make like a huge play, we just start like go crazy with our six, where we like just put it over our head and just do like some stupid celebration every time someone on the defensive end like has it play. But I'll definitely say Colton is like one of the most intense players at our practice.
So you guys both went to the same high school, Middle Township down in Jersey near Cape May. What's it like to reunite here at Immaculata playing the same sport?
I mean, it's great. I like to be playing with my old teammates, one of my best friends, and like we help build each other up, like help us get better at the lacrosse. and help us get better off the field. He's always there to help me when whatever I need something or like whatever on the field. Like it's very cool having another person that went to your high school and that's on the same team as you at college.
I mean, it's great. I would say is like it's one of the main reasons why like I came here because I already had like that built-in connection with the team instead of like stressing about trying to force my friends in. But like I already had like someone who like I've known since I was 5 years old, who I played lacrosse with since like fourth grade. So like it's a sense of comfortability playing lacrosse with one of my best friends to just like make things easier and like have that chemistry and connection that like we've had together forever. And even like not just in lacrosse, like just like hanging out. It's just we're back home sometimes, which is nice.
What do you want people to remember the most about this Immaculata team?
But we have a lot of grit and dedication, and then we want to complete the mission and have the May standard that we thrive for to win the championship and keep on competing throughout the tournament.
I want this team to be remembered for like the adversity we went through. Beginning of this year, like September, October, August, like we didn't know who our coach was going to be. We didn't know when we were going to get a coach. We didn't even know if we were going to have a fall ball. So like we had to take that upon ourselves to like go through open field. And we're a young team, so like we're going to go through adversity like every game. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be difficult, but I want people to remember that when times got hard, we rose through it and we came back even stronger. We checked rock, ball up top, everything got better. No matter how hard we got hit, just hit check rock and it was a new game, new day.
Well, we thank you guys for coming in and talking with us, and we wish you guys the best of luck in your final game at Newman on Wednesday, and then on Saturday in the playoffs as the semifinals get started.
Yeah, thank you. Pop out Saturday, Draper Walsh Stadium.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
And we'll be back after this quick break on the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. And welcome back to the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. Well, guys, that kind of brings a wrap to this week, episode 30. Did you ever think we would get to this point where we'd be 30 shows in on this little project that we started in September?
It feels like
Well,
we've been going longer than 30, I'll tell you that. It doesn't even feel like we only did 30. It feels more like 100 episodes if you combine them all a year. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing this and telling the stories of Immaculata Athletics in a different way. And more of a news story is definitely big for this school.
yeah, it's a good milestone to get to 30. And unfortunately, we're not going to hit 40 this year because we're coming up on the end of the season, but we'll definitely have a couple more episodes for you guys coming in the next few weeks. And then, as Andy said, anything major that would happen over the summer, we'd let you know about that too. But, we're coming up on these last couple episodes, so we'll definitely make it some good ones.
And we hope that you'll join us next week for episode 31. Roll Max.